What is this tool that beekeepers reach for when the stakes are high? Let's peel back the curtain and see what makes Mavrik tick. The secret sauce in Mavrik is an active ingredient called fluvolinate. That's a fancy word, but it's basically a type of chemical called an acaricide, meaning it's built to kill mites. And the key thing to remember is that it works on contact. That's going to be really important in a minute when we talk about how to apply it. Okay, pay close attention here because this is probably the most critical part of the whole process. There's a very, very fine line between effective and harmful, and it all comes down to the dose. Let's get this exactly right. You're going to start with a very specific amount, exactly 5 milliliters of the Mavrik concentrate. Not 4, not 6, 5. And you're going to mix that 5 milliliters into 1 full liter of water. That exact ratio is the magic formula. It's strong enough to take out the mites, but diluted enough to be safe for the bees when used correctly. So here's the play-by-play. You measure and mix the Mavrik into the water. Easy enough. Then you'll take your application strips, you can use thick cardboard or even pieces of sponge, and you just let them soak in that solution until they are completely saturated. Then, and this is important, pull them out and let the extra liquid drip off. You want them damp, not sopping wet when they go into the hive. All right, you've got your strips ready to go. Now let's head over to the hive. Because remember, this stuff works on contact, so where you put the strips is everything. You basically have 2 great options. You can either just lay the strips right on top of the brood frames, where all the action is, or you can use a thumbtack or a pin to hang them down between the frames. Either way, the goal is the same. Put them in a high-traffic area so the bees have to walk all over them, picking up that fluvolinate and spreading it around the colony for you. Now, you can't just do this once and call it a day. That won't work. To really knock out the Varroa, you have to play the long game and understand their life cycle. The schedule is just as crucial as the dose. And here is that schedule. It's a 3-week process. Week 1, you put the first treatment in. 1 week later, to the day if you can, you have to take those old strips out and put a fresh batch in. Then you do it one final time in week 3. 3 applications, 1 week apart. That's the rhythm. So, why 3 times? Well, it's actually pretty brilliant. The first treatment gets the adult mites. But what about the ones that are still developing inside the capped brood cells? That's what the second and third treatments are for. This cycle is designed to catch them as they emerge, breaking their life cycle completely. It's that consistency that really works. Okay, so we know how to do it. But using a tool this powerful comes with some serious responsibilities. If you get this part wrong, you can do more harm than good. So let's talk about the absolute non-negotiables. And I really cannot say this loudly enough. This is a serious chemical. If you misuse it, you risk hurting your bees, you could potentially kill your queen, and you could absolutely contaminate your honey and wax. You have to be careful. This chart just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? At the correct dose, that 5 milliliters per liter, it does its job. But the moment you start thinking, oh, a little more will be better, you're asking for trouble. You risk killing bees, endangering the queen, and worst of all, you actually help the mites build up resistance to the chemical. So let's lock in these rules. Rule number 1, never, ever, ever use this during the honey season, period. In fact, you need to treat at least 2 months before your main honey flow starts. Always remember that. Too strong a dose can kill your queen. And finally, always think of this as your last line of defense, not your go-to move. And all of this leads to a final, really important thought. Using a chemical like Mavrik can absolutely save a hive, but it's not a sustainable, long-term strategy by itself. The real goal for any beekeeper should be an integrated pest management plan, using monitoring, different techniques, and good hive management, so that powerful chemicals like this remain exactly what they are, a last resort.